Okay, this is the watch list video for Friday, April 29th. Looking at the SPY again, it had trouble with that trend line. I'll pan out so you can see it a little bit better. And it was pretty weak today after the morning. I had a strong gap down, had a really strong rally. I couldn't believe it filled the gap so quickly, and then went on to basically test yesterday's high before rolling over in the afternoon. But I don't care about the weakness in the afternoon because I generally make most of my money in the first couple hours every day. And the watch list going into tomorrow, SEED is a cheapie, but I still think it's worth watching. Had the gap up, 2 days lower, closed green today, just straight sideways in a pretty weak tape, actually. This is today's action. So, maybe up over 210. I think SEED might get going. We have kind of quite a variety of stocks I'll trade. People say, well, you focus on cheap stocks. I'll trade anything. Apple is actually on today's list, so anything from from Apple down to SEED. So I'll trade whatever is going to work. And remember, these watch lists I'm looking for something that can make me money tomorrow, right? I don't hold overnight. I try to put that reminder out at least a few videos every week so people understand I'm looking for trades that I can get a trade in tomorrow. All right, so UNXL closed pretty strong after gapping down. Closed pretty strong, basically almost at a 2-day high. Now, if this can break today's high, which is Thursday, 266. So if it can get to 267, it might just retest this recent high from which was 288, and then maybe break out over that. So that is worth watching tomorrow. Had great relative strength today, especially in the afternoon when things were weak. Another cheapie, EBIO. Not in love with this one, but you just, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 days lower after this big breakout. Doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. I'm not that excited about those when they get down to that price, but still worth watching. SAVE was on bounce watch today. It did get down to that area I was looking for, but remember, and there was no trades in it today, by the way. But remember, the SPY, this is what it looked like in the afternoon. So I'm not trying to catch a bounce in something when the SPY is in a free fall. So back to SAVE. Let me try that again. All the airlines, by the way, are pretty beaten up. SAVE, it's down. Let's see, about a week ago, a little over a week ago, this was 53.53. And now you can see it's dropped about almost $10 in a week. So it is kind of losing support here, but it's come a long way to get down to this area in a pretty quick period of time. So, just watch the airlines. If the airlines bounce, this is a good candidate. It's pretty beaten up. Not in love with this one either though. MCUR, another cheapie. It's the same pattern as the others. Breakout, few days lower. We'll see if we can get a turn. I prefer, just so you know, I prefer afternoon breakouts on these bounce plays. Generally, if they start rallying right out of the gate when the bell goes off, I don't do anything with them. Okay, so I'm looking for narrow range. In short, this is the most important thing I'm looking for is a narrow range for a while, and then a breakout to the upside after, really preferably afternoon, but at least after the first couple hours. So it's a very specific set of things I'm looking for on these bounce plays. Otherwise, I just don't trade them. So they don't cost me anything to keep them on watch. Same thing here, NEOT, a 2-day pop and a few days lower. A lot of cheapies on here, but they're worth watching. OGXI, another scenario. We had a really nice run here from like 70-something cents up to $1.40. Just basically doubled in 3 days, and now you've got a 2-day pullback. This is one out of the cheapies. This is one of my favorites for a turn back up on Friday. LGCY, I feel like this needs to come in again another day, right? But you had a really nice move here, and then you got a red day. Sometimes, sellers get overconfident, and then the thing turns right back up the next day. This one is going to pretty much move with oil, so keep oil on watch. I always have oil on a chart anymore. I actually want to watch Apple because it's getting near the lows for the year. So if we can get another push down anywhere around this line, some of these lows, I'll give you the low of this day was 92.39. The low of this day, 92.59. So anywhere under 92, this starts to get interesting. And, it might just sell off right at the open, and then we can catch a reversal. So Apple's one of my favorite stocks when there's selling going on to look for a bounce, because they like to jump in and turn Apple back up when the market's, when everything's selling off. That's kind of my go-to when everything's weak. Okay, so shipper here, DSX, had a big volume spike today. You kind of have, looks like almost a couple equal tops here. 370, today's high was 369, so certainly over that. But what I'd like to see is like a narrow range, and then maybe a breakout of a narrow range below that area. And I'll show you an example in just a second here. DISH. Now this one, the volume is interesting. Okay, it's not really near breakout, but it might get over this last few days high. If you go to 5-minute candles, this thing really got going in a very short period of time, right? So something might be up with Dish, so it goes on watch. PGN. Nope, that's not. I did that wrong. Hold on. PRGN. Okay, this was a low price chipper that just went nuts today. And it just goes on watch tomorrow. And I'm going to show you one other one, BCOR, and then I'll talk about both of them. BCOR, nice pop today. So when you look at something that's had a big move, and you wonder, well, what the heck? I always say in these videos, I don't want to chase them, right? But there are things that can give you a second day play. So there's BCORs on watch and a PRGN. And this doesn't maybe look like a big move, but it went from 28 cents to 266. All right, I wouldn't have even had this. I would have never noticed this, but it was just going crazy. And there it is on the intraday base. Actually, some of these gaps here is because it kept halting because of the volatility halts. I'll just say the stupid rules where they halt something that's moving too fast. I don't know who that helps. I've never had it explained to me who it helps. But anyway, just a crazy move here, and then it came in some. So that one goes on watch, the same as BCOR goes on watch. And just so you know, not interested in chasing these, okay? So I don't take these out of the gate, but I do have an example for you from today. If you noticed dry ships, DRYS, okay? Let me take today's candle out of it. If you watched my video last night, we had this on watch for today, okay? Had nice volume, kind of breaking out of a little range here, right? And now let's go to intraday, and I'll show you exactly. So I wasn't really even watching this one. I need to go to 2-minute candles, I think, to better show you. Yep. Okay, so I wasn't really even watching this one because it wasn't doing anything that interesting. And then all of a sudden, now we had it on a chart. All of us in the chat room had it on a chart because it was on the video from last night. But it wasn't doing anything interesting until right here. Get this volume spike, and I called it long right here. This is what in the chat room, and I won't even go into the reasons, but we call it Tokyo play. I jumped on the mic and said DRYS could be a Tokyo right here at 305, and your worst case stop goes below this candle at like 291, okay? What happens is we already know that the chart might break out. It might be a second day play, okay? Then we see the volume coming in, and you look to the left, you're still not breaking the highs of the day. So I don't mind when I see this volume, I don't mind jumping in right here, knowing I'll kill it if it gets right here, knowing I have a catalyst just above, right? That's the reason it doesn't feel very professional when you're a trader and you jump in something just because you see a volume spike. But when you add to that, we already had this on watch because of the daily chart, and then you're getting a volume spike and you still haven't taken out the high of the day. Why is that relevant? Because if we get in here and then you light up the new highs ticker, there's a good chance the buying from yesterday might continue, right? Short start to cover, people pile in long saying, hey, DRYS is going again, right? And so look what happens. Just went nuts, went all the way, I'll switch to 5-minute candles here, went all the way over 460 from a 305 entry. That's $1.59. I think it was a 52% move, and the risk was 14 cents a share. So that is not the only thing I look for when I'm looking for a second day play, but that certainly is a nice occurrence when it happens. And so dry ships was very nice. So when you see me putting something, like a BCOR, they're not exactly the same, but when you see me putting something like a BCOR and you say, well, this guy's going to chase this. No, I'm not, right? I'm going to look for a specific series of events that might give me a second day move, okay? And again, same thing on PRGN. That one might give us a setup tomorrow, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. But whenever you see this kind of crazy move, you got to put these on charts if you're a day trader, because you can make some really nice money in a very short period of time if they set up correctly. All right. We will also look for gappers in the morning as a group and build a gap playlist. And we'll also be keeping a close eye on this list I just gave you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.